Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is StitchFaceJC and today I am on a quest to bake all things gaming, baking quest. I'm so excited to introduce this series to my channel, mostly because if you guys didn't know, baking is one of my huge hobbies. I did it before YouTube and I used to do it in my downtime and I kind of lost in touch. So you know what, let's just bring baking to my channel. If you guys couldn't tell, I'm wearing a Pokemon shirt. So today we're going to be making Pokeball cake pops. I'm super excited for this. If you didn't know, cake pops are basically lollipops, but instead of the candy, it's cake. And I decided to make this because one, it's really easy, it's really basic, and Pokemon Go came out like, I want to say a few weeks ago, so I thought this was very, very fitting, and you know, just to celebrate the release of Pokemon Go, which is something I have been so obsessed with. Sorry, I just saw something. Something I've been so obsessed with. And if you guys didn't see, I actually did a video on Pokemon Go, so I'll link that down below. But let's get started with the baking. So some ingredients you're going to need for the Pokeball cake pops are a cake. You can use any cake you want. I'm using a vanilla cake, and I just used like the pre-made boxed cake. You're also going to need some frosting. You can buy your own frosting. I decided to make my own only because I'm stupid and forgot to buy some. White and red candy melts. An important note is that if you can't find red candy melts, you can totally use white candy melts and just dye it, but when you dye it, make sure you use a gel-based dye, because if you were to use a liquid-based dye, then the chocolate would become unworkable and hard and just not pretty. You're gonna need some lollipop sticks, or cake pop sticks. I found these at my local craft store, like Michael's or something. You're gonna need some icing, black icing, to decorate the black lining around the Pokeball. I'm using like this gel candy writer. You can use like edible pen, or you can use some icing, royal icing, whatever you can, you know, get. You're also gonna need some marshmallows. Make sure you get the small ones. Oh shit, this isn't marshmallows. You're also gonna need some marshmallows. Make sure it's the small ones because you're gonna cut these in half to make the little button on the Pokeball. So what you're gonna do first is you're gonna get your cake, and I already did it, but you're gonna cut it into fours with a knife, and then you're gonna take 2 cake pieces at a time and start crumbling it together. You want to make sure that when you crumble it, the biggest piece crumb there is maybe like, you know, the size of peas. So you want to crumble it really, really, really fine. Another really important thing to note is that when you're crumbling your cake, you have to make sure that it's completely cool to the point where you can handle it. If it's not cool, then and if it's hot, then it's gonna be too hot to handle, too hot to touch, and it'll just melt the chocolate and make everything a disaster. So make sure that you cool it for maybe 2 hours in the fridge, and maybe even overnight. I left mine in the freezer for maybe 30 to 40 minutes if you know if you're a little on time. So yeah, once you're done crumbling your cake, it should look something like this. You want to make sure that when you're crumbling it, that again, it's the biggest size is like the size of a pea. Now what you do is you're gonna get your frosting and then incorporate it and mix it into the crumbled cake. When you do it, some people are using their hands, however, I'm not like that. I don't like the consistency, it feels super weird, so I'm just gonna use a spatula. So again, there's some of the frosting right here. And I'm just gonna mix it in. So once you're done mixing your cake with the frosting, it should look something like this. And you're going to take some of your cake, this much, and then start forming a sphere with your hands. So something like this. It really depends on your size, how big or small you want your cake pops to be, but something like this. I'm going to do that to the rest of the cake until I have no more, and I'll see you guys later. Once you have finished forming all of your cake, it should look something like this. I'm very excited. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna take something kind of like steep, or I don't know, something kind of long that you can put in the microwave, and add in your white candy melts in the, so I'm using a mug. I've added in my white candy melts into the mug. We're going to melt this for maybe 30 seconds, stirring halfway through, and we'll be right back. Once you've melted your white chocolate melts, you're going to take your lollipop sticks and start dipping the end of the lollipop sticks into the white chocolate. You're just going to take the white chocolate, dip some in, and you want to get maybe ½ an inch or maybe like 3/4 of an inch, this much. What you're going to do is you're going to take a cake ball and stick it halfway in, and then you're going to set it down like this. Like this. Do that for the rest of the cake pops. Once you're done, you should have something that looks like this. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna put all of these in the freezer for at least 40 minutes to an hour. This is so that when you start working with it, when you start dipping into the chocolate coating, that it won't fall apart and ruin your day. So put this in the freezer for at least 40 minutes. Once you have let your cake pops fully freeze and cool down, you're gonna melt the rest of your white chocolate candy melts. Get a stand, you can use some styrofoam. You're gonna dip it in. Make sure you're very careful and very cautious when you do this. So watch how I do this. So this is fully like frozen, it's fine. So I'm gonna dip it in very slowly. Swirl it around. Take it out. Dip some of the excess off. Let it sit on the stand and wait for the chocolate to completely dry. So you have to be very careful doing this because if you're new at making cake pops, this can be very, very stressful, not gonna lie. A lot of things can go wrong. Either the chocolate is not melted enough, or the cake pop is not frozen enough, isn't cold enough. But one little tip is that when you're melting the chocolate, if you feel like it's too hard and not liquidy, what you can do is you can add in some vegetable oil. That'll make it more thin and more workable with, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna do the rest of my cake pops and I'll get back to you guys later. Once you are done coating your cake pops with the white chocolate candy melts, you're gonna let them cool for about 10 minutes in the freezer in the fridge, and then you're going to melt your red chocolate melt. So what you're gonna do now is you're going to take your cake pops, dip them in halfway, make sure that it is halfway, and just dip some of the extra off. What you do is you're going to get a Q-tip and start cleaning up your edges so that you can get a very straight line from the red chocolate to the white chocolate. I will be back once all of these are done. Now that the red part has now fully dried and hardened, what we're going to do now is decorate it. So you're going to take your black decorating tool and your marshmallows. As you can see here, I cut them in half so they can be smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cake pop, ice the middle where the red meets the white, something like this. Now that that's done, you're going to take your marshmallow and add it on anywhere you want it, and you should have something like this. Isn't this so adorable? So I'm gonna do these to the rest of the cake pops and I'll be right back. Once you are done decorating your Pokeballs, you should now have something like this. I am so happy how they came out. They're kind of messed up, but that's because the chocolate melts weren't that great. So, but I'm super happy with the result. These are so adorable and I hope you guys make them. These are so easy. A little bit time consuming, but I'm very used to it because I used to make these like 24/7. But these are super easy and they look really tasty. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all want more. If you have any more suggestions for any gaming related baking goodies, please leave them down below. I will try my hardest to make them. I actually have something in mind right now. So, just leave anything down below. Please subscribe if you want more, and leave a like on the video, and I'll see you all later. Bye!